Hey everyone, Dr. Skylar Baku here again. And in this video, I want to talk about this vagus nerve that I keep talking about. What is this vagus nerve? Okay, so first of all, the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body, which originates in the brain, so the back of the head there, as cranial nerve number 10. There's 12 overall. Vagus nerve is cranial nerve number 10. So it travels down to the neck and then passes around all the digestive system, the liver, the spleen, the pancreas. It controls the heart and the lungs and thyroid and adrenals and all those things. So this nerve is the major player in the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's the healing part of our nervous system, the rest and digest part, okay? It's the exact opposite of that sympathetic stress, fight or flight nervous system, okay? Fight or flight or freeze. So when the parasympathetic nerve is functioning, that vagus nerve, it shuts off that stress part of the nervous system, okay? So the tone or strength to the vagus nerve is key to activating that parasympathetic nervous system, that healing nervous system. And vagal tone or strength is measured by tracking your heart rate alongside your breathing rate. So the machine we use to measure that is called heart rate variability, okay? Your heart rate speeds up a little bit when you breathe in, or it should, and it slows down a little bit when you breathe out, okay? So the bigger the difference between the inhalation heart rate and the exhalation heart rate, the higher your vagal tone or the stronger your vagus nerve is, okay? So the higher the vagal tone and the higher the vagus nerve strength, the more your body can relax faster after stress, okay? So what is a high vagal tone or a strong vagus nerve associated with? Well, it improves the function of many, if not, most of your body system. So it causes better blood sugar regulation, so less sugar cravings, okay? Reduce risk of stroke and cardiovascular disease, lower blood pressure, improve digestion via better production of stomach acid and digestive enzymes, and it reduces migraines, okay? Higher vagal tone or strength is also associated with better moods, less anxiety, and more resilience to stress, okay? So one of the most interesting roles of the vagus nerve is that it essentially reads and helps control the gut microbiome, the good bacteria in your gut. So it helps that by helping to modulate or control inflammation, okay? Inflammation not just in your digestion, but everywhere in the body. So in this way, the gut microbiome or the good gut bacteria can have an effect on your mood, stress levels, and again, overall inflammation in the entire body, okay? So what is weak vagus nerve or low vagal tone associated with? It's associated with things like cardiovascular conditions, strokes, depression, anxiety, diabetes, chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic cognitive impairment, brain fog, memory issues, and much higher rates of inflammatory conditions, which include all autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid, inflammatory bowel disease, endometriosis, autoimmune thyroid conditions like hypothyroid, Hashimoto's, and lupus, and much more. So inflammation, autoimmune disease. So how do we get a stronger vagus nerve? How do we get better, stronger vagal tone? Okay, well, there's a couple things we can do at home, and thankfully they're free and they're easy to do, okay? And you don't need any equipment, all right? So the first thing is slow, rhythmic, diaphragmatic breathing. That means belly breaths, okay? So breathing in through your diaphragm rather than like shallow through the top of your lungs, okay? Which, doing that when we breathe in through our shoulders and our lungs, that stimulates that fight or flight part of our nervous system. And when we breathe through our belly, it stimulates the vagus nerve. So what I like to do as far as the rhythm is I like to instruct patients to breathe in for a count of 4, and then out for a count of 8. Okay, so the reason we do 4 count in, 8 count out, all right, is because breathing in is a function of that fight or flight nervous system, that sympathetic nervous system. Breathing out is a function of that parasympathetic nervous system. The longer we breathe out, the longer we're stimulating the vagus nerve. And remember, when we're breathing in, that belly goes out, okay? And then when we breathe out, then we suck the belly back in, okay? So don't worry about your belly sticking out. It's gonna come back in when you breathe in, okay? Or when you breathe out, rather. So the other thing I like to instruct my patients to do to stimulate the vagus nerve is gargling water, okay? Just regular old water, nothing special about it, any kind of water you want. Just make sure it's clean, okay? So what I tell patients to do is that I want them to gargle for 30 seconds, maybe up to 3 minutes. What we're looking for is watering or tearing of the eyes, okay? When you notice that and we feel that, that's when we know we've stimulated that vagus nerve. So, it could take up to 3 minutes. If you're doing it that long and you still don't, notice any watering in the eyes or tearing of the eyes, just stop at 3 minutes, okay? So there's two main reasons that might happen is either you're dehydrated or you just have a really weak vagus nerve, okay? Which means you have to be doing this on a regular basis for a long period of time. So I always instruct our patients to do this at least for 30 days, before even expecting, some big change, okay? Which the gargling is also really good for those snorers out there, okay? So don't forget that part. But again, so, if you gargle for 30 seconds and you start feeling that watering and the tearing in the eyes, boom, you're good. I'm good with that. And I like people to do that a couple times a day, okay? So a couple times a day for 30 days. And the same thing with the breathing. This is something we should be practicing and trying to doing all day, okay? If you ever just check in, you notice yourself breathing from the shoulders, you got to stop that right now, okay? And bring it right back to the belly. So I like to put my hand on my chest, hand on my tummy, and that way I know this part doesn't move and just the belly part moves, okay, with my hand there, okay? So I hope that that helped. And also, don't forget too, one of the strongest, quickest, fastest ways to stimulate the vagus nerve is through a brain balancing chiropractic adjustment. Okay, everything we do in the office is meant to stimulate and strengthen this vagus nerve through our adjustments. So it especially happens when we adjust in the upper neck here, because that's where the part of the brain stem comes down, and that's how we're going to stimulate the vagus nerve when we're adjusting those areas of the spine. So again, the chiropractic adjustment is the quickest, fastest, strongest way to stimulate your vagus nerve. But I also instruct our patients to do things like this, the breathing and the gargling at home, to not only maintain strength, but to keep it going when they're not in the office. So I hope you guys like that information about the vagus nerve, and that's why I've been talking about it so much, because it's such a big deal and it regulates so many things and how we feel and function every day, okay? So it's a huge part of health. Get on the bandwagon, the vagus nerve. I hope you guys like this video. Thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm Dr. Skylar Baku with Baku Chiropractic and Functional Medicine. Number is 720-998-7956.